Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day for everyone watching this. Depend on where and when you watch it. I hope you have a great day today. And back with me again. I'm Meilani Putri in this change. I really wanted to talk to you about how learning process and how education happen in this pandemic era. But before we begin to my opinion, let's start first with what explanation of education. Education is very important, especially since it has a goal to educate the student children of the Indonesian nation, so that the next generation of this nation can bring the Indonesian state towards progress. During pandemic like this, education and learning processes are all difficult. Education must be carried out online, and education is because of the prevalence of transmission from COVID-19. The hard work of the teachers so far is really commendable. In the midst of social restriction due to the COVID-19 outbreak, they are still enthusiastic about pursuing teaching science. Almost no one thought that the face of education would change like today drastically due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Before this normal and become this pandemic era, all education from elementary school, junior high school, and even university is carried out remotely or online. All the education community must be able to adapt to existing features, existing condition that happen right now that called new normal. And because all that change that were previously done face to face when teaching and learning process done by face to face with the teachers and interact between the students and the teachers now have to be done remotely or online. And that changed so much in the method that used in teaching and approach that teacher used to the students. And by the way, socialization is always carried out that all that can adapt to running online learning with long distance learning or online. There could be a solution so that learning is done face to face, offline. Students are also tired. We, as the student, are also tired of distant learning online. That we can only watch videos. We can only learning by WhatsApp, and we want to back and we want to re-interact with our friends and another friend. And if it's possible that policy makers can apply face-to-face education or offline by limiting the incoming students. So we hope that policy allowed us to go to school, to go to learning offline by just limiting the students who come to the school. That can be done by half of the student entering and half of them and can enter in the next hour or in another day. Learning is also carried out by keeping a distance and complying with health protocols in strict manner because in this pandemic era. And in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19, is it also possible to carry out face-to-face learning? But however, the physical distancing policy to stop the spread of the epidemic forced to change the form of education at school, learning from home with an online system. The online education system is certainly not easy. It's not easy at all. In addition to the personal discipline to the study independently, there are facilities and resources that must be provided. For example, like internet, the phone, the device, the internet, the computer or handphone that we have to use, but not all the place we have that, all the places are connected, stable with the internet, and that must be provided despite anything that happened in our condition right now. Observing the condition where until now there is no certainty when the pandemic period will end, which has been going on for 2 years, more and less. Of course, strategic steps are needed regarding the implementation of learning in this pandemic transition period. This step is considered very important because if there is no proper preparation from the start, is it possible that there will be lost generation or even education debt, extension of education? In the sense of education, as process that accompanies learning does not exist in real educative or even acting altogether. With distance learning system, it's likely that some problems will arise in ongoing learning process. We don't know what outcome will be after we graduate, or what can it affects the student's skill because we learn online rather than learn offline through face-to-face with the teacher. Of course, students and educators from all walks of life are required to have a good internet network. However, many areas have poor internet access, so that it becomes one of the obstacles for teaching and learning activities to take place properly. In addition, for a few students who do not get the maximum learning outcomes, both from the subject matters and assignments given by educators during the COVID-19 pandemic. Students are also greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, starting from the freshman or new student to final year student, or the last semester students. The most striking things about the problem for students is difficulty of learning in subjects that require practicum. Imagine how engineering student can learn by online, but they don't have practicum in their classes, but all their class just about practicum. But in the laboratory or in the field practice, this is certainly a problem for students because it's like they can only understand in theory. And not only that, students can also complain about the single tuition fee that many of them protested so that the campus could lower the tuition fee on the ground so that they did not enjoy campus facilities during online learning. This also happens to the students who attend private school where parents are required to provide or pay school fees, as they should even thought the child does not enjoy the school facilities. The child doesn't even go to the school. Why they would pay for the tuition fees when they don't even enjoy the school facilities? If the pandemic goes away, maybe the problem that occurred can be addressed properly. Currently, we have heard news that the government has started allow face-to-face learning in school, considering that vaccines have been distributed evenly to the community, on the condition that students who are 12 years and over, and teachers are required to be vaccinated. But nowadays, in the middle school also, students are allowed to go to school, and teachers are required to be vaccinated. And gladly, we have already vaccinated. The vaccine is already in all over the place in Indonesia, in our place. And teaching and learning process must be applying health protocols, the start of a new normal activity. However, this face-to-face learning has not been applied to location designed as red zone location. Students are most vulnerable in the situation before education was seen as a gateway to a brighter future, and now education is a burden and the poor an advantage to the someone who's not fluent. Besides dealing with budget issues for data plans to cope with their online classes, their mental health is also strained as they cope with learning requirements in this time of crisis. They only exaggerate their learning situation between buying the right computer, with downloading the correct software, searching for required webcam, and understanding where to log in, where to use the website, and how. And understanding is not enough to make your head spin. All of the students who spends most of their time taking classes in person before the pandemic come are only getting taste of frustration. Only students face constantly. And students enroll not because they want to learn, but because they have to, because they don't want to be left behind. They attend online classes and answer their modules and course packs not because they want to learn, but because they need to comply with these requirements to get a degree and a diploma. Similarly, teachers do their jobs for the sake of completion mandated by their supervisor. Even if their hearts is not in it, education in the time of this pandemic is also a pandemic itself. It is not liberating but rather restraining. It's not encouraging but rather depressing for students and for the teachers. An education institution wants to be best, but they forget to become human. So the students who nowadays have been learning online 3 years since the first time they got into the university, they become afraid to face the lecturer, face the teacher, face to face, and online on the offline learning. They become afraid. They become discouraged by how the fact that offline learning is totally different with online learning, that we only see videos with different feature and different skills that given by the lecturer. That's my opinion, precisely. Thank you for listening to me. I hope we can see in the next change. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.